Good evening, this is Brass Tacks. I'm Zaka Jacob. A day after the Maha coup in Maharashtra by Ajit Pawar, now it's an open fight for the reins of the NCP. Today, Sharad Pawar removed Praful Patel and Sunil Tatkare from primary membership of the NCP for indulging in anti-party activities. The Ajit Pawar faction held a press conference saying they are the real NCP. One thing is clear, while daggers may be drawn in public between uncle and nephew, in private, could this have been pulled off without Pawar Senior's blessings? And what may this mean for the opposition's fledgling unity effort ahead of 2024? All that and more we'll go right into here on Brass Tacks. But first, the story of the day, 24 hours after Ajit Pawar pulled off a coup.
पवार गांभीर्यपूर्वक दृढकथन करतो की बहुसंख्य आमदार हे राष्ट्रवादी काँग्रेस पक्षाबरोबर आमच्याबरोबर आहेत. आम्ही सगळेजण एकत्रपणे काम करतोय. पुढेही आम्ही महाराष्ट्राच्या भल्याकरता काम करत राहणार.
पिटीशन हमने विधानसभा के अध्यक्ष साहब के यहाँ कल रात को भेजा था. हमने उनको विनती की है कि वो जल्द से जल्द हमें हियरिंग का मौका दे.
महाराष्ट्र विधानसभेचे सन्मान्य सदस्य श्री जयंत पाटील यांनी राष्ट्रवादी काँग्रेस पक्षातील 9 आमदारांविरुद्ध अपात्रतेची याचिका आज सादर केलेली आहे. ती मी वाचून घेईन. त्यात नमूद केलेल्या मुद्द्यांचा अभ्यास करून योग्य निर्णय घेतला.
महाविकास आघाड़ी बनते बनते रोज टूटते जा रही है. महाराष्ट्र में ये आघाड़ी महाआघाड़ी अभी आघाड़ी भी नहीं रहा.
और शिवसेना तोड़कर कुछ फायदा नहीं हुआ उनको. पार्टी मजबूत है. पार्टी फिर एक बार एक बड़ा चैलेंज लेकर बीजेपी के सामने खड़ी है.
ये पॉलिटिकल लड़ाई है. कांग्रेस पार्टी शरद पवार जी के साथ है. थोड़ा तो पड़ेगा. जो लोग गए हैं वो हमारे साथ थे, वो हमारे खिलाफ है. उतना एनसीपी के अंदर जो फर्क पड़ेगा, लेकिन हम उसको देख लेंगे. उसको आगे हम
All right, joining me first on the show is former Maharashtra Chief Minister and Congress leader Prithviraj Chavan. Thank you very much, Mr. Chavan, for speaking with us here on Brass Tacks. It seems like the NCP is now split wide open. So is the Maha Vikas Aghadi. Today, Ajit Pawar and his MLAs held a press conference claiming that they are the real NCP. They claim that they have more than 40 MLAs supporting them. How can you claim when voluntarily Mr. Pawar and his band of MLAs jumped ship from the NCP to join hands with the BJP Shinde Sena-led government there in Maharashtra? How can you call this a political coup of sorts?
Well, there is a split in the NCP that is very evident. Only question is how many MLAs does Ajit Pawar have?
Yeah.
If he has less than 36 MLAs, then he'll fall flat on his face. He'll get disqualified. Mr. Pawar is trying very hard to make sure that he gets more support of more MLAs. He started his campaign right in earnest from my hometown this morning. And I think a huge gathering was there to greet him. And I think he's going to hit the road and try to get maximum support of the people on the ground. So on one hand, there'll be a legal battle. Both factions have disqualified each other's leaders from the position that they were occupying. But the legal battle is one thing. The political battle on the ground has already begun. Now that political battle will tell us how many MLAs are with Mr. Ajit Pawar and how many MLAs remain with the parent party, Mr. Pawar's party.
Now, Mr. Chavan, what I want to ask you is, the point is that all of this will get proven either in a flow test if one is called for, or as Mr. Pawar said in his rallies today in different parts, that it will be settled by the people, as in when you go back to the people. That will have to be either for Lok Sabha next year or for the Vidhan Sabha election next year. And it's not going to happen in a hurry. So by then, don't we know or we don't know what shape or form the assembly will take? Do you believe that as they stand today, that the NCP and Sharad Pawar Senior have lost control of this party, the NCP?
No, I don't think more MLAs are gone. But whether the question ultimately, as in the case of Shiv Sena, same thing is with NCP, whether people, after all, party is not just MLAs, party is not affluent bearers, party is the cadres, party is the workers on the ground. Who has the support of larger number of people in the ground, that is very crucial.
Okay.
The same thing will happen in case of Shiv Sena split. But there is no time to prove it because there are no elections. The Shinde-Fadnavis government dare not hold elections without causing break in the NCP, with a break in the MVA. They succeeded in causing a break in Shiv Sena earlier. Now they caused a break in NCP. But even then, I don't think they are in a position even to expand the cabinet or to hold long overdue local bodies elections, which are due for more than a year and a half.
Okay.
So I think BJP is not sure of its Maharashtra strength without breaking up parties and without poaching MLAs from other parties.
Okay.
They will not be able to face any election, whether Lok Sabha election or any other election.
So
This
you
is the
said,
preparation for
Mr.
Lok Sabha
Chauhan,
election.
that the Congress will become the largest opposition party in Maharashtra after the split both within the Shiv Sena and now within the NCP as well. You also said that you will lay claim to the post of leader of the opposition, but doesn't this risk alienating strong allies of yours in the state like the NCP and the Shiv Sena?
No. I think the rules of the running of the Vidhan Sabha, the parliamentary practices and procedures is absolutely clear. In an alliance, the party which has got the highest number of MLAs gets the chief ministership. When we are in the opposition in an alliance situation, the party with the largest number of MLAs gets the position of leader of opposition. There is no dispute, there is not even point worth discussing. When the dust settles down, where we know exact number of MLAs which are with the NCP in the MVA alliance, they happen to be the largest party, they will get the leader of opposition position. If they are not the largest party, then the next largest party will get the leader of opposition. There is no dispute, there is no doubt, there is no need to discuss this issue at all. That's a non-issue. Somebody will get the position of leader of opposition, the party which has got the highest number of MLAs as on date. So that's part of the parliamentary procedure. The speaker will decide based on the numbers that that respective parties have.
Okay.
More important thing is whether the split in the NCP will be formalized, whether Mr. Ajit Pawar indeed has more than 2/3 MLAs with him. That will be made clear over a couple of days. Now both factions have disqualified each other.
All right.
It will be a long.
We'll see how this plays out. Like you said, it's going to be a long-winded road. There will be muscle flexing on either side of the Pawar family, as it were. But clearly, as things stand today, the NCP under Sharad Pawar seems to be on a bit of a back foot. We'll leave it at that. Thank you very much, Prithviraj Chavan, for joining us, the former Chief Minister of Maharashtra. Joining us now is a perspective from the other side. Amol Kolhe is a member of parliament who had first joined the NCP camp led by Ajit Pawar and then returned back to Sharad Pawar. Let me go across to Mr. Kolhe. So just yesterday you were at the bungalow of Mr. Ajit Pawar, even as this announcement, this whole secretive, this swearing in was happening. Today you've had a change of heart. Why?
The fact yesterday I went to meet Honorable Ajit Dada regarding some different matter. We had to have some different discussions. So we had that meeting, and yesterday I was completely unaware while I was at Ajit Dada's bungalow Devgiri that oath taking ceremony is going to happen yesterday itself.
Okay.
So I was a bit in shock, and believe me, when I was sitting in that Darbar Hall of Raj Bhavan, I actually called up my office and I told my office to keep my resignation ready, because this is not the reason for which I entered into politics to witness all this. This kind of morality, credibility and answerability being put at toss. This is not the politics I expected. So immediately after moving from there, I called up Honorable Pawar Sahab, and Pawar Sahab told me to hold the decision of resignation and he's going to. I'm going to meet him tomorrow, maybe tomorrow, and we'll take decisions further. So
But-
I think it's listening to your inner voice.
But-
Why I came into politics and which decision I have to take. So I thought to go by the moral values, and I took this stand.
But Mr. Kolhe, Ajit Pawar claims he has support of 40 out of the 54 MLAs and that he has a bunch of NCP MPs as well with him. What is the lure of siding with Sharad Pawar still? I mean, when you clearly can see the party is slipping from below his feet.
See, I have not met Honorable Pawar Sahib yet, so I'm not aware how many MLAs or MPs have contacted him. But from the visuals I saw today, there are total 5 MPs of NCP in Lok Sabha, and out of which Honorable our floor leader Supriya Taisule is definitely with Honorable Pawar Sahib. Then I saw Honorable Srinivasji Patil standing beside Pawar Sahib. I have declared my stand, so at least 3 of 5 MPs are with Honorable Pawar Sahib. I have not had contact with our Honorable MP from Lakshadweep, Mohammad Faisal. I don't know about his stand yet. But what about MPs? I can tell you this. About MLAs, it will be Honorable Pawar Sahib only who will be in a better position to tell how many MLAs have.
All right, Mr. Kolhe, we'll have to leave it at that. Thank you very much for joining us here on Brass Tacks with your thoughts and perspectives. NCP MP who had met Ajit Pawar yesterday, having a change of heart and rejoining with the old NCP, as it were. Let me now open this up to our guests who are joining us. Professor Sanjay Kumar from CSDS, one of India's veteran psephologists, Shazia Ilmi, spokesperson of the BJP, Mahesh Tapase, spokesperson of the NCP, and Mohan Kumaramangalam is spokesperson of the Congress Party. Shazia, let me start with you first. You've already seen the attacks from the opposition, from the Congress Party, saying that the BJP has some kind of washing machine, and that if you have people who you accused of corruption, deep corruption, till the other day, till just a few days ago, and then suddenly, just because they've joined hands with you, all those corruption allegations get whitewashed. How do you respond to that?
So there are two answers that I want to give. The first part is related to the corruption charges. Now, that's all that the opposition can come up with. The fact of the matter was that all these cases had been going on for the longest period, the pace of which is neither accelerated nor reduced or done away with or in any way, only because this is the job of the agencies, and we believe that none of them will go away, but there will be due justice.
Okay.
And there have been, the same charges have been for the longest period against all these leaders, including many who have stayed back in the NCP. So I don't know how that directly is linked with this, them wanting to join the BJP. However, one thing that even your discussion reveals with the various leaders who have left the NCP and senior leaders is that the weight and the load of this entire dynasty politics and this blind love or blind siding that is there, that is seen, and the disrespect of every other worker and leader at the cost of one's offspring, which is the pivot on which these parties run. And I think and when this pivot gives way, this is what you see happening. None of the opposition parties are answering are responding to the charges, serious charges that are being made of dynastic succession and how these laws impact the workings of a party. And the fact of the matter is that the ranks, the cadres, the senior leaders could not withstand the decisions being. It's happened before.
So let me ask Mohan Kumaramangalam that. I mean, it's one thing.
As for the ED charges.
Yeah, one thing. One second, Shazia, I'm coming back to you. You know, it's one thing, Mr. Kumaramangalam, for you to say that, this is a split and the BJP is using IT, ED, CBI, etc. At the end of the day, this was a voluntary split. More than 40 MLAs have gone from one camp to another. You can't surely hold the BJP responsible for that if fully grown up adults, multiple term MLAs decide to ditch one side to join the other.
Zaka, so first let me respond to the claim that 40 MLAs have crossed over, because I'm not sure where you're getting that number, apart from maybe a claim by Mr. Ajit Pawar. The spokesperson of the NCP who came on before, I think, had said very clearly that it is unclear which side how many MLAs are on. But I will say that if you go by the Supreme Court ruling just a month ago, and the decisions that subsequently have to be taken by the speaker that he's been sitting on in Maharashtra, it's not even the MLAs, but the organization that actually matters when it comes to matters of disqualification. And now you have a sort of a comical situation where a working president of a party is appointing a state president, and then that state president is going ahead with those powers which clearly the working president does not have in appointing him, to appoint further wing presidents like, a youth wing president or a women's wing president. I am a working president of my party in my state, and I can tell you that no working president has any power in any party.
No, sir, that is not material. That is not material to the discussion. What is material is who has legislative support, because it's basis legislative support that you decide whether a government, has the majority to continue in office or not. And that legislative support seems to be with Mr. Ajit Pawar.
Zaka, this government is continuing regardless of the legislative support that Mr. Ajit Pawar has or claims that he has or does not have. Are you saying the government is going to fall if Mr. Ajit Pawar doesn't join the government? No, this is a question of who controls the Nationalist Congress Party, the NCP.
Okay.
And whether these people who have crossed over will be disqualified and whether that disqualification will hold.
No,
now, as far as
disqualification may or may not come, maybe even in the next 1 year. But let me ask Mahesh Tapase this. No, one second. Mahesh Tapase, I think the moot point, and it's coming from your ally, is this, that this is about the NCP being split down the middle, and Sharad Pawar Senior, who has run your party since its existence, today has been outwitted by his nephew. Fact of the matter is, yes, all through yesterday people were saying, oh, how can he pull this off without Mr. Senior Pawar knowing, and so on and so forth. But today, if you've taken action against both Mr. Tatkare as well as Mr. Patel, removing them from membership of your party, then clearly Sharad Pawar must acknowledge that he has been played by his nephew. Mr. Tapase, Mahesh Tapase? You have to unmute Mr. Mahesh Tapase.
Yeah, good evening, Zaka.
Yeah, good evening. Now I can hear you. Go ahead, yeah.
Good evening, Zaka. Viewers, let me tell you that the NCP party stands strong behind our patriot leader, Shri Sharad Pawar Sahib. As far as a line of our legislators joining with the BJP and taking oath as the minister, I think it's another Operation Lotus, trying to once again after a gap of almost a year. The same Operation Lotus has happened in West Bengal, in Madhya Pradesh, in Goa, in Karnataka, and again in Maharashtra after a gap of almost a year. Yes, there are some people did go to the swearing-in ceremony of Ajit Pawar. We saw one gentleman, member of Parliament, Amol Kolhe. He was there yesterday. Today he said he owes his allegiance and his loyalty to the party president Sharad Pawar ji. Another two MLAs who were present over there, Makarand Patil, Balasaheb Patil, they were all with Mr. Pawar Sahib today at Karad when he had gone to pay respect to his mentor, Chandra Chavanji. So, let me tell you, and I don't know how many people in the BJP know Pawar Sahib so well. I have worked very closely with him. And let me assure you that as Mr. Pawar starts moving from one city to the other, one district to the other, one taluka to the other, one village to the other, we'll see a flock of people, hundreds and thousands of people queuing up to him and paying respect to him and offering their support, unconditional love and support to Pawar Sahib.
That may well be the case. That may well be the case. I'm not disputing that. But the material fallout of it will only happen when the elections happen. That's over a year away now.
I want to thank Prithviraj Chavanji and the Congress party for having stood behind us at this time of crisis. And Congress has seen so many defections in its own political turmoils over last so many years. So at this moment, yes, it was a tough decision, but today the party is strongly behind Pawar Sahib. We are almost in touch with most of the MLAs whose names are being paraded by the Ajit Dada Pawar faction.
Okay.
But let me tell
so,
you, we have
so
also,
let me one second, sir. Let me go to Professor Sanjay Kumar on this. Now, clearly, one view seems to be, Professor Kumar, that
Zaka, we have already initiated disqualification petition
Yes, you have.
to the Speaker of the Legislature Assembly, and we are very confident that the NCP will remain intact. There is a lot to learn from last year. We have the Supreme Court judgment in the Thackeray and the Eknath Shinde case. Here, the appointment of the chief whip, the appointment of the group leader of the party totally rests with the leader of the party, the president of the party, and in view of the recent judgment of this Honorable Supreme Court, the 5-bench constitutional bench, we have appointed Jitendra Awad as our chief whip, and in the ensuing monsoon session of the Maharashtra legislature, the whip issued by Jitendra Awad will only rule.
Okay, so then let me ask Professor Sanjay Kumar this. See, ultimately, yes, the one view is that BJP is doing this to shore itself up, shore its support up in what is the second biggest state in India by way of number of seats, 48 seats. So they needed this kind of an insurance policy in the form of Ajit Pawar before going back to the people in 2024. The point, though, is, Professor Kumar, is there any evidence on the ground as to whether, this disparate alliance, which part of it has come from Shiv Sena, part of it has come from, NCP, and then, of course, there is BJP, will actually work on the ground, or will the cadre sort of counteract each other, as was the case in the Maha Vikas Aghadi also? It was not an easy coalition to run.
Zaka, there is no empirical evidence for that. But if we look at the theory of coalition politics, what is called an oversized coalition. So if we believe that, say, out of these 54 MLAs of NCP, say 40 or 35 or 38, whatever is the number, anything above 30 have joined this bloc, then if you club the MLAs of BJP, the Shinde group of Shiv Sena, and this faction of NCP, and there are other independent MLAs who are supporting this bloc, then the tally goes to, say, roughly about 100, 190, 195. It is an oversized coalition. At the moment, it looks like, comfortable majority, solid government. You can't dislodge the government. But I think they will face a lot of difficulty when it comes to ticket distribution, when they go for election with this kind of a coalition. Because aspirants of all political parties would want to have the say. They would like to contest election. So that is the difficulty of an oversized coalition, and this looks like an oversized coalition.
So let me ask Shazia Ilmi, oversized coalition is one problem that you have to deal with. On the ground compatibility of your workers, that is another concern as well in the run-up to 2024. But most importantly, what about all of those attacks that your leaders did on Ajit Pawar and other leaders of the NCP? 4 out of the 9 people who were sworn in yesterday have very serious corruption charges against them by the ED and the CBI. 4 out of 9.
So yes, and nothing, the charges continue to be investigated. They don't get impacted by them joining one party or the other. And the fact of the matter is that agencies have been at it even, and these people had a chance. These charges have been there. Why did they think of leaving now? Why not earlier, if they were so scared of these charges and wanted to please the BJP? But somebody before me talked about Operation Lotus. May I remind them about how Maha Vikas Aghadi came into being, which was the single largest party, which was the oldest alliance in Maharashtra? Do we remember what happened? What happened in Bihar in 2020 elections? Do we remember what happened there? I mean, if you look at BJP won 74 seats and NDA won actually 125 seats, BJP 74 in the 243 assembly, member assembly.
Okay.
And BJP followed his coalition dharma. BJP followed the coalition dharma and made Nitish Kumar the chief minister.
No, I get all of that. I get all of that, Shazia. The question is, what about the dharma? What about the dharma on corruption? Suddenly, has that been whitewashed?
Absolutely. No, it has not been whitewashed. See, this is the only thing they can come up with. It has not been whitewashed. But the fact is, the very fact that they have been there are so many leaders who have the corruption charges, ED charges, are all of them wanting to join the BJP? No. So if these leaders claim that they have had a problem with the party leadership, the direction of the leadership, the complete favoritism and nepotism that irks them, that irks the workers and senior leaders.
Okay.
Will we not go by that, or allude to charges, corruption charges, which continued to be there even earlier? If this is what charges was scaring them earlier, they could have joined in. Ajit Pawar made a bid to come to the party even earlier. If you remember, the charges were there, notwithstanding.
So let me ask Mohan.
So the fact of the matter is the charges were there then, but they refused to join the BJP. They refused to join the BJP for a reason, and now they are part of the BJP for a reason.
Mr. Kumaramangalam, you cannot claim any kind of moral high ground simply because, the MVA in its existence itself was an unnatural coalition. The people of Maharashtra voted for BJP and Shiv Sena, the old Shiv Sena as it were, and the Congress and the NCP was the other alliance. By bringing in Shiv Sena, Congress and NCP, you were the first ones who brought in this unnatural alliance. And now you cannot turn around and claim moral high ground when those same parties ally with the BJP.
Zaka, let me ask you another question. Before I respond to your question, I will respond to your question. But I have to know that if nepotism and dynastic rule and everything that Shazia is saying is such a big deal, why is it that the Ajit Pawar faction of whatever number of people that are actually there have chosen to retain Mr. Sharad Pawar as their national president? This man who's supposedly promoting nepotism and dynastic rule in his own party, why is it that they don't choose to replace him as the national president? Is he okay for national president now, despite all these allegations that are being levied against him by Mrs. Shazia Ilmi and the Bharatiya Janata Party? The second thing I want to ask Mrs. Ilmi is...
No, by all
leaders.
Has she looked at by NCP leaders.
Let me finish.
No, not
you
by
had
me.
your chance.
This is what they are saying.
You can have a chance
but
to respond to what
I did not
saying.
say this.
Please do let me
Carry
finish.
on.
You just
Please.
said it.
Sure.
You just said it. The other thing is that the country's shortest serving deputy chief minister, who in a midnight coup ran the government was in government for 80 hours and got 9 of his cases dropped by the Anti-Corruption Bureau just after he joined the government in 2019, is now probably going to last, I imagine, maybe 8 days, and hopefully the ED cases that are against him and 4 of the other 9 who have crossed over will try to get them slowed down, just as they have been slowed down in the case of Mr. Hemanta Biswas and the several other leaders who have joined BJP.
But ED cases are one thing, Mr. Kumaramangalam, ED cases are one thing, but if this coalition goes in to fight the election next year, Lok Sabha and Vidhan Sabha, they're a formidable coalition. Between them,
Zaka,
they have close to 50%. They have
Again,
50% vote share between them.
I'm going to have to dispute this claim, because what you are talking about is the entire Nationalist Congress Party, the NCP, shifting to Mr. Ajit Pawar. I don't see that happening at all. In fact, I don't see Mr. Ajit Pawar even claiming to have the number of MLAs he has. Like I said, this will prove itself out in the coming week, in the coming days. You will know all of this. But as it stands today, please don't assume that Mr. Ajit Pawar is commanding a majority of workers and MLAs in the NCP.
So, Mr. Tapase, the difference between what happened in 2019 and what is happening now seems to be that Mr. Sharad Pawar seems to be, behaving a little differently in 2019 compared to what is happening now. In 2019, for 3 days, he was holed up inside the YB Chavan Center. He made sure that every single MLA who went with Ajit Pawar came to that YB Chavan Center and declared his or her allegiance to Sharad Pawar. Today, what we are seeing is there are 8 or 9 MLAs who have already taken oath, very senior ones at that. Chhagan Bhujbal is not a newbie. He's been with your party for many, many years now. Senior leaders have taken oath, and Mr. Pawar is going to the people, but the people will decide only 1 year from now. So has he ipso facto accepted the reality of what happened yesterday?
See, Pawar Sahib was already on tour in Pune yesterday. Today he had a scheduled meeting of all the backward class community people of the NCP, which he didn't want to cancel. And of course, he has made it very amply clear that the NCP does not endorse the views of these 9 MLAs who have voluntarily got themselves aligned with the BJP, and there is a swearing-in ceremony. But I want to thank the BJP for one thing. I want to thank the BJP for absolving the the NCP from all its charges. I want to just remind Shazia ji that just a couple of days ago, the Prime Minister of the nation, he was very critical of the NCP. He said this is a party which is corrupt. He said they are there with the irrigation scam, 70,000 crore rupees worth of irrigation scam NCP is accused of, the banking scam. And just 3-4 days after this statement of the Honorable Prime Minister, our leader in Maharashtra, the BJP leader in Maharashtra, Mr. Devendra Fadnavis, calls a group of NCP leaders, the ones who are actually been accused and talked about in the
2 points.
in the BJP. And makes them
Two small points.
No, 1 second. Let him finish. Shazia, 1 second.
Mahesh Tapse.
Yeah, no, let him finish, please. Let him finish.
Yeah, sure.
Mr. Tapase, yeah.
Allow me to say.
Yeah, finish your point, yeah.
So today I am very thankful that they have absorbed the NCP of all the charges which were baseless. I don't say that there was any charge. There was a charge, but Ajit Dada is not the person who would be embroiled in any kind of a controversy.
Okay.
So the charges made in 2015 were baseless. The charges which were again hurled at us, and now with the induction of the same accused people, I think the party has been totally absolved, and I thank the BJP for this.
Okay, so Shazia now respond, yeah. Shazia, please
So,
respond.
when we talk about change of stance and political somersaults, let me take you back even further to 1999 when Sharad Pawar was actually expelled from the Congress because he was the first one to talk about Sonia Gandhi's bid for prime ministership, if there were any, on the basis of the fact that she was of foreign origin, her citizenship. So the fact of the matter is that Sharad Pawar has not, if Congress is so busy defending Sharad Pawar at this point of time or talking about him and the morality of his leadership, and the fact of the matter is that Sharad Pawar has been carving out these alliances since 1999 and he has had a great track record. If Ajit Pawar and various other ministers or various other MLAs seek to join the BJP because they question the leadership of their own party, which they feel is biased towards, dynastic succession, Supriya Sule, who is the daughter, and they have a problem with the way they are being sidelined or not
So
being
a
taken
nephew isn't a
seriously
dynasty,
by
Shazia?
the person at MFS. Yes, but nephew and it's a
Nephews don't count,
nephew as opposed to the daughter and many others. Praful Patel, Ajit Pawar. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. You can laugh as much, but the fact is, the role of Ajit Pawar and how the cadres look at him is different from the way they look at Supriya Sule.
Okay.
You know that.
No. Let me get Sanjay Kumar also. I'll come back to you, Mr. Tapase, in 1 second. But 1 second, Professor Sanjay Kumar. 1 second, Professor Sanjay Kumar. I'll come back to you, Mr. Tapase. The question then is that there are two aspects to it. One is the legal aspect. At some point, I'm guessing that this coalition will have to prove its majority on the floor of the House. And at that point, whose whip will prevail, whose whip will be denied or defied, that will be a critical question, because in light of the latest Supreme Court ruling, the original whip is the one that matters. And if that is defied, even if more than 2/3 of the MLAs defect, that, as per the latest Supreme Court order, does not hold. That's one part of it. Second part is the political part, Professor Sanjay Kumar, and that is that Eknath Shinde was brought in. The split happened in the Shiv Sena. Eknath Shinde was made chief minister. He was given pride of place. Today, you have another heavyweight who is the deputy chief minister, who has got as many MLAs backing him of his own party. So Mr. Shinde's leverage in this government, Mr. Shinde's leverage with the BJP going into the Lok Sabha election and the Vidhan Sabha election, it's basically like he's been cut down to size now. Is it not?
Certainly, Zaka. I did mention one aspect of oversized coalition. This will be another aspect because you have several heavyweights in the government. One has been made the chief minister. A similar heavyweight would be the deputy. It's not easy for both of them to, reconcile their egos. So it's just a beginning. But I think as the government, start functioning, if it survives, in a sense, you have already discussed about the technicalities, etc. But if it starts functioning, I think these road roadblocks are going to come in front of the government, and we would all get to know that how these 3 or 4 heavyweights are not working in close tandem, not working in close coordination. So these things are going to happen. Certainly these things are going to happen.
No, so then let me ask Mr. Tapase, if by virtue of what Ajit Pawar has done, a section of the Shinde Sena then leaves, they're upset. Already I think there is some chatter about, them not getting enough cabinet berths. There are 14 vacancies. Initially they had to share it with the BJP. Now they have to share it with the BJP and the NCP also. If a faction of the Shinde Sena comes back to the Shiv Sena or to the Uddhav Thackeray Shiv Sena, will the MVA accept them? Will that be acceptable? And what does this also mean for, the people voted for one coalition. Today we've had 3 coalitions in the span of the last 3 years who are ruling Maharashtra. It's a mockery of the people's verdict.
Well, it was the fight between the BJP and the Shiv Sena. So all the grievances that Shazia ji is claiming, it's primarily against the Shiv Sena. And at that point of time, the Shiv Sena leadership decided that they wanted the chief minister post, and they said that it was promised to them, and it was at a very higher level, probably which Shazia ji or some other leader may not know of the BJP. And that's how the split of interest between the Shiv Sena and the BJP happened. They approached us, we were in the government with them until the time that same Eknath Shinde orchestrated a division of the MLAs within the Shiv Sena, and he became the chief minister. Now the similar thing is, and this was all done at the behest of BJP, which was officially claimed by none other than Devendra Fadnavis ji. Devendra Fadnavis ji, who said कि हमने बदला लिया, आमी बदला घेतला in Marathi. That's what he said. हमने बदला लिया. So now.
No, but Mr. Tapase, why don't you also respond to what Mr. Fadnavis said this time around Ajit Pawar's coup, that in 2019 Sharad Pawar had given his blessings and at the last minute he backed off for whatever reason. So doesn't that make Sharad Pawar look Machiavellian?
I has already spoken on this. There was a discussion. Pawar said, no, I don't accept your discussion. The matter ends there. So what was the reason for the BJP to rope in Ajit Dada hours of the early morning? So what was the need? If Pawar Sahib has backed out, he's not willing to have any kind of coalition. Yes, there were feelers being sent by the BJP. There was discussion initiated by some leaders of the BJP. Pawar Sahib said, no, I don't want to be part of this coalition. I am sticking myself.
But Tapase Sahib, the difference again, last time around there was no Chhagan Bhujbal, there was no Praful Patel. These are senior leaders who have been with your party since day one. Are you seriously telling the people of Maharashtra that all of this has been done behind the back of Mr. Sharad Pawar and that he had no clue about what was going on behind his back?
Well, I do not know what compulsions all these leaders have. Now it's not my botheration anymore. It may become the botheration of the BJP in time to come. It's definitely not my botheration anymore to understand and to defend what compulsions were behind all these leaders. Now my party is absolved of any charge and I'm free to talk about the corruption which has happened in the BJP at the national level, at the state level in the last 1 year, along with being in the Shinde government. So I have no compulsions to actually talk about what transpired between all these leaders and what they decided. But I want to again, but I want
so the same point I would. Maheshji, so now it's talking about corruption. So when these leaders were with you, they were not corrupt. So now you would defend them. You would defend them, but now when they've joined the BJP.
Please moderate. She's eating into my time.
One second. One second. You finish your point, but you've been taking a lot of time as well to finish your point. So yeah.
Finishing up my point, I'm happy that the BJP leadership, including Shazia ji, is so much concerned about Ajit Dada. I'm very happy for that. I really wish well for my leader, Ajit Dada. We have actually worked with him from the last 25 years, from our days in the student wing and the youth wing. So we all love Ajit Dada. But yes, he has taken a decision. We accept that decision. There was a meeting which was held with all the legislators, all the senior members were also there. Supriya ji also went there. And he said, no, I want to join the BJP. I want to form a coalition. So Pawar Sahib said, yes, those who want to join the BJP are free to go. Those who want to stay with the UPA, MVA and NCP under the leadership of Pawar are free to stay.
No, that makes it sound like, Mr. Pawar wants to have 1 foot in each boat. 1 foot in NDA, 1 foot in MVA. Anyway, be that as it may, Shazia, quick response and then I'll give Mohan Kumaramangalam the final word. Quickly, I need to wrap up in the next couple of minutes, please. Yeah, Shazia. Mr. Dabase, please yield.
I don't want to give the impression to anybody here.
Shazia, only Shazia, please. Yeah, thank you.
Impression to anybody here. So he mentioned national and state corruption. So here I stand here and sit here in front of all of you. I don't want to give the impression to anybody that we are running away from any question on corruption or the charges of corruption. The charges stay as they are, the pace of which will not be decided by any party or any government, but by the agencies, as has been the case for the longest period. And all these leaders had the chance and opportunity to join the BJP earlier. Had BJP been so willing to offer them the safe passage, so to speak, to grant them innocence. But I'm afraid BJP does not have the power, not as any party in India. Courts have that power of conviction and agencies do the investigation. We know that. But another point, now that the same leaders who were their own party members, they were defending them when the same charges of corruption were there. Now they suddenly appear corrupt to them. Why? Because they've decided to question the leadership and its intentions and their place within the party fold.
So
and leave for BJP.
So
isn't that the same?
So Mohan Kumaramangalam, I'll give you the final word. Whether you like it or not, this is 2024 and the BJP sort of fortifying the chinks in its armor, as it were, for 2024. They realize that Maharashtra might be a problem, given the fractured nature of the mandate. They had Shinde faction, and now they have Ajit Pawar faction. So this is BJP fortifying its bases before 2024. Many are speculating that Bihar could be next. Where does this leave the opposition, and where does this leave this whole fledgling effort at opposition unity?
I think opposition unity is going from strength to strength. All leaders within the opposition coalition have called and spoken to Mr. Sharad Pawar. And let me say that in the past, because Shazia Ilmi pointed out in 99 that we did have differences with Mr. Pawar, Mr. Sharad Chandra Govind Rao Pawar is one of the tallest leaders in Maharashtra. And when he was asked, because you raised the question earlier, when he was asked whether he has had anything to do with these defections, he categorically responded saying that he had absolutely nothing to do with it and he doesn't approve of it at all. And we should give a man of his seniority and his stature the credit and the trust of his word. So let's move beyond that, and let me just say that it is still unclear what kind of strength Mr. Ajit Pawar commands and how much of the NCP vote share he takes with him. In the coming days, I believe that you will find out that it is very, very few people who migrate with him to this alliance, and a majority of people will stay with the patriarch of the party, who is Mr. Sharad Pawar, who has sensed that there might be an issue and has immediately done what any politician worth his salt would do, which is get on the ground and start touring and assuage all his cadre and all his leaders.
Yeah, I'm completely out of time. I'm running out of time, but I believe on Thursday, which is a couple of days from today, we will get to know what is the actual strength of each of these factions of the NCP. I think multiple meetings have been called for, and ultimately the strength or lack of it has to be settled in a floor test. That is what the law says. That is what multiple Supreme Court judgments have said. And ultimately, I think even this government's future will be decided on a floor test. I'm completely out of time. Thank you very much to Mohan Kumaramangalam, to Shazia Ilmi, to Mahesh Tapase, and of course to Professor Sanjay Kumar. Meanwhile,